the business need to stick on to the law, and without that law they cannot go for anything, to clean our surrounding and to look for the benefit of the society at large. Whenever we are doing a business with another country, we are supposed to always know the law of land of that country. It is all about their ethical responsibility. It's not about the economical or lawful. It is all about ethical responsibilities. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Business Studies in Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to the next session of Social Responsibility and Business Ethics. In this session, I'm going to teach you about kinds of social responsibility. In the earlier, we got to know what are the social responsibility and why we are supposed to stick on to social responsibility. What is so important of social responsibility? Now I'll tell you that there are different kinds of social responsibility. The first one being is economic responsibility. That means it's all about the money what you have, right? And the next one is about legal responsibility. When I talk about economic responsibility and legal responsibility, let me tell you that these are the two responsibility which goes hand with hand. That is, the business need to stick on to the law, and without that law they cannot go for anything. Next one is ethical responsibility. The word ethical itself says that for some people, it is all about moral values, that is the moral values and their morality. Here what happens is, are they sensible, right? So those things are the ethical responsibility. And the last one is discretionary responsibility, the other responsibility which I'll be talking. The first one, economic responsibility. Ask yourself a question that, are you responsible enough for the society? How many of you have come to the streets and you have claimed or you have actually taken over the social responsibility things and you have helped the society at large? When we were all in our school days, we used to do this plantation and cultivation kind of a thing, or croppings, seedlings, all those things we were actually doing it. Are we doing it now? Or is it just one particular day where we actually plant lakhs of plants and then we don't even water even one of the plant? Is it that? Or we are supposed to be responsible enough to clean our surrounding and to look for the benefit of the society at large? Are we doing all those things? Or are we actually only reading the newspaper and blaming the government and other general bodies? Or we are just sitting silent and making people feel that we aren't raising our voice and they can do whatever they want in the society and whatever they want to benefit themselves? Are we actually the real people who are responsible enough, or we are just people who are not even responsible? So here what happens here is economic responsibility. A business enterprise is basically an economic entity. Exactly, right? So whenever we talk about business, we only talk about what? Money. When money is involved, we call that as what? We call that as business is a economic activity. So here primary social responsibility is economic, that is produce goods and services that society wants and sell them at a profit. So is it the only thing which we are responsible for? The business is like economic responsibility. They are producing it, they're selling it, they're giving us a service, they are rendering the service. Is it the only thing they are capable of, or they are actually capable of doing something else? That is what the economic responsibility will tell you. That is, they will produce qualitative goods. That is their responsibility. They need to stop adulteration. They need to actually think about, they need to give us the qualitative product. That is what their social responsibility has a business. And they need to give us the topmost service which we really require, because we would have given or invested on the product which the business people have actually given to us. So what is their responsibility? Economically, their responsibility is to give us the qualitative and the quantitative product, which is the standard, with a very beautiful product they are supposed to give it and introduce. Legal responsibility. Every business has a responsibility to operate within the law. When I say within the law, try to understand that business is always lawful. Business is always lawful, and business cannot go out of law. They should always be in the law, and then they are supposed to go within the law of the land. Please understand, law of the land. Now we have this 1991 economic reform which says that LPG. What is it? LPG. Liberalization, privatization and globalization. In this globalization, you need to understand that the entire world is considered as a single market. But we need to also understand that if we are doing a business from our country to a different country, we have something called the host country and the guest country. Now here what happens is the import or export, if we are trying to go with a deal, now whenever we buy something from some other country, we call that as import, and when we sell something to other country, we call that as export. So these things you all know. Whenever we are doing a business with another country, we are supposed to always know the law of land of that country. There are so many examples which I can give, where one of the land of law of a country says that there are few products which are totally banned. They are not supposed to be sold in the market. It should not sell in the market. But still, if you go for it, what happens is it is not lawful. It is actually a contemporary court. Now here what happens is, you are supposed to know that. I'll give an example with McDonald's. Now McDonald's, they really wanted to enter Indian market and Pakistan market. When they wanted to enter the Indian market, what was the real headache was the social responsibility they were supposed to carry us. McDonald's was very famous for two products. One was hamburger, another was hot dogs. Now hamburger is all about what? The beef burger, that is it, they used to use the beef meat. Now Indian social sentiments are what? We are not supposed to go for it. And one more was what? Hot dog, which was all because of the sausage of the pig. Now again here there is a problem. The Muslims will not have that. Here the Hindus will not have that. So social responsibility. McDonald's was banned only because of this. After 25 years, McDonald's circled all its things, and then it came up with only chicken based product with veggies. Now it was accepted. The reason is the law of the land in USA is totally different from the law of the land in India. So that is what you people need to understand. So law of the land is what? That is the legal responsibility which business enterprises need to actually take care. Here the law-abiding enterprises is a socially responsible enterprise as well. That means whoever will actually keep the law and then they start their business, only those people are lawful. Next is ethical responsibility. Now we are not talking about economically responsible as well as lawfully. Now according to you, what are ethically responsible? What is that you feel about the responsibility which you will carry? That is called as ethical responsibility. This includes the behavior of the firm that is expected by the society but not codified in law. There is nowhere it is codified in law, but the customer, the consumer, the society is expecting something from you. That is what the ethical responsibility is all about. For example, respecting the religious sentiments. Respecting the religious sentiments and dignity of people while advertising for a product. In USA, let me tell you that in 2016, there was a company which used to manufacture shoes and chappals. Now what happened is, In USA, the law of land says that they can go with any kind of a thing. There is no proper guidelines. Now, those companies used to manufacture chappals with a print of the god and the goddess's image. Now, it was what? Socially responsible were they? Definitely no. The people who were in USA, who were majority of the Indians, they started to actually boycott those company and the product. The reason being, they thought that the religious sentiments are hurt. Now what it is not about the law or the ethical kind of a thing. It is all about their ethical responsibility. It's not about the economical or lawful. It is all about ethical responsibility. So they should be wise and they shouldn't do all these things. Now the law doesn't say that they are not supposed to do in USA, but they should have something called ethical responsibility. Next one we have is discretionary responsibility. What is this? This refers to purely voluntary obligation. What exactly is a voluntary obligation? Obligations, the duties that an enterprise assumes, for instance, providing charitable contributions to the education institutions or helping the affected people during floods or earthquake. The biggest example which I really want to give is about the Tata company. Now the Tata company, they had given 1,500 crores in this pandemic to the Pradhan Mantri Yojan kind of a funding. Now why did they do it? It's all because of discretionary responsibility. Whenever there was a flood in India, whenever there is an earthquake in India, whenever there is any natural calamity which happens in India, now these are the big corporates like Infosys, Wipro, Reliance, Tata, Infratel, all these, Bharat Airtel, all these people, they give charity in the sense what? They feel that yes, they have taken money from the society. Now it is the time for them to give it back to the society. So what is it? It is all because of discretionary responsibility. It happens voluntarily. Now we call these people as the philanthropists who are helping the society at large. Now there are a few people who are like Carlos Slim, then you have our Microsoft, the person Bill Gates, then Jeff Bezos, the Amazon, all these people, what is that they are doing? They are being the philanthropists and they are in the first edge where they are the people who are voluntarily, they have the obligation over society and they are helping the society at large. Next is social responsibility towards different interest group. Now we have the following interest group where you will go with responsibility towards shareholders. Now you need to understand that shareholders are the owners of a company. So what is the responsibility towards the shareholder for the business? Responsibility towards the workers. Now because the workers work, you will actually get more profit, or else from where will you generate profit? Responsibility towards the consumers. Now consumers are the people who are buying your product. What is that responsibility you are showing it to the consumers? That is what the thing is. And the last one here is responsibility towards the government and community. The government is giving you the place to run the thing. So what is that you are helping the government in and the community? So these are the things which you are supposed to know. What the business has responsibility over the shareholder, because shareholders are the people who have invested their money. Responsibility towards worker, the workers are actually working 24/7. Responsibility towards the consumer are the one who are actually supporting you by buying your product, right? And the last one is all about the government and the community. So the first one is about shareholders. A business enterprise has the responsibility to provide a fair return. So whenever the shareholder invests in its stock, profit may happen or loss may happen. If loss happens, the shareholder, that to our equity shareholder, will actually bear all the losses. But if a profit happens, what usually happens is the business will retain its earning and it will not give the profit which they have really made. So what is the responsibility of a business? To give a fair return of the shareholder or owner on their capital investment. Whatever they have actually gone for, you give a fair remuneration. Don't cheat them. and ensure the safety of such investments. So here what happens? There is a story about Satyam. Satyam was a company which Ramlingam was the person who was heading it, and he was CEO of the company. Now, what Satyam did was, it was the biggest scam in those era in the early 2000s. So when Satyam was being a fraudulent thing, what really happened was, the people who invested on Satyam, they lost their share value only because of the scam. So that is what they shouldn't do it. They should always invest in such a way that the safety should be ensured. They need to give fair return on the capital investment which the shareholders have done it. Now, responsibility towards the workers. Workers, what is that they need? They need proper wages. They need proper wages. And they need salary. Right? They need proper salary. Now, if you give them wages and salary, what will happen is they are happy. Plus, they need few of their conducts which they really need it. That is, it can be any kind of a thing. That is, work surrounding and everything should be maintained, clean, all those things. The safety should be actually ensured. So that is what the things you are supposed to go. So the code of conduct will actually be written, and the workers, whatever they need, they will actually write it, and that is what the business need to give. Management of an enterprise is also responsible for providing opportunity. This is the conduct. Opportunity to the workers for meaningful work. It should try to create the right kind of working conditions so that it can win the cooperation of the workers. In the 1948 Factories Act, what is it? 1948 Factories Act, they have actually told how a worker should be maintained, how the working class, the working section should be maintained, how the maintenance should be given, what are the maintenance which are the necessity, the need, the want of the worker. So the company or the business enterprises need to stick on to it, and they are supposed to fulfill. And I'll tell you, if it is like more than 50 people are working in your company, then you are supposed to provide them canteen. If there are more than 10 people who are working in your company, you are supposed to give them something called accommodation with kind of restrooms, all those things you are supposed to give. Now, if there are 100 people, now you are supposed to think about the safety. All these things are what it is written in the 1948 Factories Act, and you are supposed to provide it. Next one, responsibility towards the consumers. What is the responsibility you have with your consumers? Supply of right quality and quantity. So what exactly your consumer wants? How is that your consumer will get all these things? One is quality and the quantity. And the price should also be good. Price should be what? Reasonable. Reasonable. The price should be reasonable. Services, consumer. Reasonable prices constitutes the responsibility of an enterprise towards its customers. That means what? You make the customer happy, the customer will come buy your product. That is what you are supposed to understand. Here, shareholder you are supposed to take care. Your workers you are supposed to take care. Your consumers you are supposed to take care. And the next one is you are supposed to take care about the government and the community. An enterprise must respect the laws of the country and pay tax regularly. That is, the government is there. How will the government run? Only when you pay proper tax. And honestly, it must behave as a good citizen and act according to the well accepted values of the society. You shouldn't pollute the atmosphere. You should use things which are renewable. You should not exhaust all the unrenewable resources, the non-renewable resources. You are supposed to think about the next generation. You shouldn't spoil the surrounding. All these things a business enterprise should go for. Earlier in the early 2000, what used to happen was plastic was supposed to be banned because we know that plastic has so many side effects. Plastic will not decompose the way the other things will actually decompose. So the regulation of the government was to ban plastic, but you should understand that being a responsible citizen, are we using plastic or we are not using it? So understand these things and then you will come to know that yes, even though we know that plastics are harmful, but still what we do is in our daily house routine or whatever it is, you will at least see 10 to 15 plastic covers in your own house. So that is what you are supposed to see. Even you should have responsibility towards society, isn't it? It's not just the business, it should be the consumer or the general public also should have responsibility over the society. So these are the things which you are supposed to know. So firstly, what happened is we need to have responsibility towards shareholder. When I say it is the business enterprises should have responsibility towards the shareholder, because shareholders are the one who are investing the capital investment. Secondly, the business need to have responsibility towards worker, because the worker is working for him. Thirdly, the business need to have responsibility towards the consumer, because he is the one who is buying the product. Give him quality and quantity with a reasonable price. You take profit, but take a reasonable profit. Don't exploit him. The last one is what? The business need to have responsibility towards government and community. When I say community, it is a society. So these are the things which you are supposed to know. If you have any doubt regarding this session, please be very free to call us. We are always there waiting to receive your call. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next session. Until then, I'll see you when I see you.